My name is Dennis Jones. Our first panel, gosh, the name. Anyway, is being moderated by Julie Seabaugh. It's about to begin. First few announcements. Please respect the panelists by silencing your devices and taking personal conversations outside the room. If there are issues that require attention of the South by Southwest staff, please see one of our music panel volunteers. You can also email musicpanels@southbysouthwest.com with any comments or concerns. Welcome and enjoy the panel.
Thank you.
I think we know like everyone in this room.
Has anyone here not already toured as a comedian? Great, we will continue.
That's right.
Could you move up front?
Yeah, thanks for coming out and filling this room to capacity. Yeah, great size of this room here. Yes, the panel banded together touring as a stand-up comedy group. I guess we'll just start talking about why we're here, and then I'll introduce our fine, esteemed panelists. The official literature is as follows. Spike Lee's original Kings of Comedy struck box office gold in 2000. The Blue Collar Comedy Tour filled theaters for 6 years. And the Comedians of Comedy documentary, which debuted at South by Southwest in 2005, turned Zach Galifianakis, Patton Oswalt, Maria Bamford, and Brian Posehn into film, TV, and stand-up megastars, directly kicking off the red-hot trend now sweeping the industry. Today, a multitude of groups have enjoyed entree to booking, industry, and production avenues that might remain otherwise unattainable by their individual members. While talented stand-ups touring as a unit has its advantages, it can also come with its own unique set of headaches and pitfalls. Here, performers and industry members discuss the work and rewards involved when comics come together to leave audiences laughing as one. Just a couple examples of some of the groups out there that we're talking about. We have the Monsters of Comedy, the Raging Jews of Comedy, the Damn Fools of Comedy Tour with Tony Roberts, the Dykes of Hazzard Tour, Indian Invasion Comedy, Meatballs of Comedy, the Quarter Life Crisis Comedy Tour, and this goes on for an entire page. And here to talk about some of these folks and their varying degrees of success, we have myself. I'm your moderator, Julie Seabaugh. My background is comedy journalism, and a couple years ago I switched over to the PR, booking, production realm, and I'm now the comedy doer for Brown Paper Tickets, ticketing company out of Seattle. And I also have worked extensively with the Beards of Comedy, who just released their second album and their first on Comedy Central Records, from which we have Jack Vaughn of Comedy Central Records.
Is the Beards of Comedy people with beards or people who are in relationships where they are gay? But which is it?
That is a very common question, Eugene.
Yeah, I would hope.
For Southern comics who now have moved to New York and Los Angeles, and are doing quite well for themselves.
Yes. So they're gay?
If they are, it's well hidden.
Okay.
Yes.
They're comedians. What do you think? Are they gay?
Maybe. You never
Yeah,
know.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're
Like
gonna
all
be gay.
people.
Let's watch the crosstalk.
Yes, so these folks that are speaking to you. Yes, we have Jack from Comedy Central Records, Henry Owens over here, founded the highly influential Chunklet magazine in 1993. He's widely credited with bringing together the indie rock and comedy worlds. He also produced with the Comedians of Comedy tours, specials, DVDs, and worked individually with Patton and Brian Posehn. We also have Christine Levine over here. She's appeared on multiple episodes of Portlandia, and she recently toured with the Unbookables group, Brendan Walsh, Sean Rouse, among others. Gary Goldman on the far end, who we all know from Last Comic Standing, and Tourgasm. The Tourgasm with Dane Cook, a guy named Robert Kelly, who we have with us today, and Jay Davis also was on Tourgasm. And we also
To a lesser extent, Jay Davis.
Yeah, I still can't believe that. That's so weird.
And last but not least, Eugene Merman. The Stand-Uppity Tour 2008 with Mark Maron and Andy Kindler, who we know from several TV programs, and Eugene Merman Comedy Festival, now going out to Seattle. And Pace Magazine named him one of the 10 best comedians of the last decade, and he also did time with the Comedians of Comedy. So, welcome, panelists. I guess let's just start discussing factors that contributed to the current comedy group boom. We'll start with Henry. Why and how did the Comedians of Comedy come together?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but the way it came about is Patton called me up and asked if I would book a tour. That's exactly what he said, and he was like, "Yeah, and I'll bring Brian," and I think it was just Brian, and then I got John Worster, who lives in North Carolina, to come along, and I booked the tour myself, and they actually filmed it, and I guess it's part of the first Comedians of Comedy DVD, but I booked it all myself, and at the last minute, Posehn bailed, like literally, like within the day we were leaving, he bailed, and Zach Galifianakis, who nobody knew who he was, nobody like had so much as heard of him, he came on and was fantastic. But it was extraordinarily organic from my perspective, and then once, you know, like they try and figure out a way to monetize it and like say, hey, let's have these assholes with cameras or these assholes with cameras and a recording crew come along, then it got more and more complicated for me, from my perspective. But for the most part, that's how it came about. It was it was modest at best. But of course, you know, Hollywood types being Hollywood types, they want to think big. You know, they push it.
And Eugene joined up with that at some point. How did that come about? And then can you also talk about the Stand-Uppity comedy tour coming around?
Sure. I mean, I think in general, it came about because Patton was like, hey, do you want to do this? And I said yes. I think it was one show. At first it was like a show in Florida where like, I think Zach couldn't make it, and so I did that, and then I think at some point when they did, you know, another few tours, they had me in the spot. Stand-Uppity came about because I had done that sort of thing a lot before, and then Andy Kindler wanted to do a tour, and so he asked if I wanted to do that, and then we sort of asked Mark to do it. But in general, like, I think it's a sort of common thing, like, you know, me and Dimitri and Leo Allen and Andy Blitz did a tour in like 2003, and then I used to tour with Leo and Showalter and Stella, and like, I think that, though clearly there's a lot of like things like Dykes of Hazzard or like Crazy Jews, whatever.
Yeah, raging Jews.
Common
Either
Jew.
way. Like, I mean, I think that, you know, in general, it seems like people have always toured as groups, and friends and groups of people have toured together, and some now people who've maybe done, you know, who are just like trying to come up with ways to sell themselves. So they're like, well, we're all mad and we're Jewish, so let's tour the country as angry Jews, because people want to see that. You know, but yeah, so the Kindler thing came about because, you know, he wanted to do that, and that's how that happened.
You could have also been called Raging Jews. I mean, every comedy show is kind of a
I think that Mark was the tipping point.
Even if they're not Jewish, they're Jewish-ish.
Me and Kindler would have been like, Jews.
Yeah.
And we did tour like the Midwest, so it would be like 3 angry Jews coming into an IHOP, arguing about who fucked, like, well, mostly it'd be Kindler and Maron arguing about who fucked up more with the industry.
Oh.
It was a lot of fun. It's a nice time, me being like, come on, be quiet, let's not make a scene.
How about Christine Gary? Where did your respective tours come from?
You want me to go?
By all means.
Okay, well, the Unbookables, I don't know, Doug Stanhope likes to collect seashells, like things, you know, and like ragtag pieces of shit or people that he thinks are brilliant or something weird about us or something, and he sees something in us, and then he's like, you guys are such idiots, you're unbookable, you know, because you're just all big fuck-ups, but you're geniuses. So that's what his words, you know, so he like collects us all, and he called us Unbookables, and then next thing you know, this guy, Jeff Pearson, It's like, well, let's just, it was very much like a Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdom thing, documentary, and it's what they did, and then they threw us on the tour bus, and that's it, let us go. And then what you get is like a very much like behind the scenes documentary, it just shows us being assholes. It's really, and we're funny. I mean, it was a movie that kind of was like we did with James Inman and Sean Rouse and Brett Erickson. I don't know, but Rouse really is the one who shined like the most. He made the most sense, and it really became about him, I think. But anyway, that's it. Just Stanhope just kind of started labeling us that, and then this director, Jeff Pearson, just decided to put us all in a van and let us go in our natural habitats and a view from afar.
And similarly, argue about who sucks more.
Yes, that's right. We argue about who sucks more. It's Inman. Yeah. I'm going on the record.
Gary, I guess Tourgasm would be slightly different from, not necessarily DIY, but from the top down. Come around.
Yeah, well, Robert, who's actually sitting right there.
Or if Robert Kelly would like to address the question.
Bobby, okay. We were friends with Dane back in Boston, but then Dane met this guy in LA called Jay Davis, who also tried comedy. And he had this sweet room on Sunset Boulevard, and I mean, you could look out in the audience, see Britney Spears, and he was like a Hugh Hefner of comedy booking. He really put together a great party, and so he was asked to join this group of touring comedians that, I mean, I think it might have been based on who Dane could beat in go-kart racing and rock climbing and things like that.
He lost in go-kart racing, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, to Bob Kelly.
Yeah.
But it was very close. And
That
was like when Villanova beat Georgetown in 1985. That was a huge upset.
Yeah.
And
no, it's
there's a 30 for 30 about it on ESPN, and it's airing next Sunday. Nothing on 30 for 30? It's a good dog. Come on, Hills.
South by Southwest does not involve sports at all, right?
I just thought that side of the table could be the guys who aren't into sports, and then I could be the sports side.
You were fucking wrong.
Oh, Henry. No. All right. So, but we had been friends, the three of us had been friends for a while, and then Dane got very famous, and didn't want to do a tour alone, I guess, so he invited us, and he put his name on the side of the van in 500-point Helvetica, and then the rest of us were in 6-point Wingdings. So you had to speak Wingdings to know who else was on the tour.
I get that.
Oh, you got that? Oh, right, because it involves font, you nerd. All right, I'll work some more font bits in there. All right. Does that answer the question in a way?
So whether we're talking about ethnicities or who can beat who at sports.
No one on this panel has done a tour based on ethnicity. Just to be clear.
Well, with that,
we all abhor it. And I'm
So
speaking for
saying,
everyone, regardless of how they feel.
So you're saying that would be a characteristic to avoid when starting up a comedy group?
No, I'm kidding. It's totally fine to do that. I mean, comedy's totally fine. I just mean, what we've all done is toured with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
I think is the actual answer to, comedy touring is, go tour with your friends.
Well, we were friends when the tour started.
Well,
Yeah.
well, the tours that I've done, nobody put their name in a giant font and had a huge bed and everyone else slept on the couch or whatever it was. No person normally does
Couch!
that.
We would have killed for a couch.
My legs were sticking out of a hole.
Sure, yeah.
You would just leave up.
Can you expand on that?
I slept like Eddie Munster in a TV series, The Munsters, hanging from a thing like a bat.
I think it's a good
This should
idea.
be the tour.
Can I have a Diet Pepsi? Is anyone here in charge of Diet Pepsi? Never mind. I really ruined things.
It's good to tour with your friends though, because that way I think that you get the similar, like, I find that it's a very good idea to, you're all drunks or you're all into the same drugs or the same, or healthy lifestyle if that happens, I don't know.
No.
But I mean, like, if you're, it does help though, because you can't like go on a tour with somebody that you don't know very well and find out they're really into coke. You know, it's like a surprise, like, oh Jesus, you know. So it does help to already know people, you know, and then you have fewer surprises down the road, I think.
Did any of these tours end in disaster?
Yes.
What happened?
It was awful. Our van broke down. Oh my God. I don't know where to begin.
They took the fun walk? No.
Oh my God. The Unbookables, I swear to God, they you know, they fired us, the Johnnies or something, I don't remember. Anyway, they fired us and then paid us for the whole week, like paid us, still let us stay at the condo. We ripped off the bar, like we just stole. Not truly unbookable. We just turned into animals, and then like then we leave the condo a mess or whatever. The guy let us stay there. He's really nice. And then Rouse and I went out to dinner or breakfast the next morning, and I go, hold on a minute, Sean. Dude gave us Saturday off, paid us, and we took his booze and left the condo a mess. We're assholes. And he goes, yeah, now you're getting it. I'm like, oh God. So yeah, it was awful. Like Inman would throw up in places at somebody's house, and I go, God damn it, James, you've got to clean up. You can't just puke on somebody's wall and leave it. And he's like, I'm tired of you being everybody's mom, Christine, fuck you. And it was just, yeah, the whole thing. And then the van broke down in Denver. Oh, fuck. I got a post-traumatic stress disorder talking about it. It was awful.
Any other vomiting on the wall stories?
I'm getting post-traumatic stress just listening to her story.
Yeah, I even
I'm
know.
sorry.
And I got treated nice on that tour because I was the only girl. Like they were really nice to me. They were like, oh, you get the, you know, you get the bed, and they tried to be nice to me anyway. But they also tried to make me clean up their shit. Yeah.
Was there with Maria as the Comedians of Comedy? Did she maybe experience any different treatment? Receive the beds or anything like that?
We had one bed that she got. We all had our own rooms, and everyone was a nice person. I mean, but you know, it was fun. I don't know.
No. Maria is, like, I can't say a mean thing about her, but she certainly is peculiar. Like, I think that's the nicest way to put it. Like, I mean, she's just.
We're all familiar with
It's true that Brian Posehn, who would be very teasy, was like a sweet angel to her. I would say like people were like.
Yeah. Oh no. You definitely had to kind of treat her like. This is how I best describe how the tour ended. The one time we ended up in Chicago. Were you at that?
Yeah, that's the same way people go like, how was she?
Yeah, it's like she was just, well, I mean, the whole, I don't know how much of a story it is, but you know, it's like we had all these pork chops and like we were having a great time backstage, and she was sleeping on the floor amidst like a bunch of stacked chairs. Like, I mean, literally, like, I mean, in like a throughway, and you were like, okay. It's like, and there were tons of sofas, and here she was, like one of the performers, just like balled up on the floor.
She made a fort? She made a fort.
She was just lying on the ground in a place where she didn't have to, like someone would make her. But I think she had just become overwhelmed and was like, this is where I'm resting. And everyone was like, no problem.
Maria was always the very sweet, thoughtful person on tour. Like, she would bring me presents. She would say, oh, I saw this and I thought of you.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
It would be like wet wipes or something.
She would find like the gold blood that said Slayer and be like, Brian,
here, hail Satan.
Oh, Christine, you're probably not so much on the presence with the group.
No. Welcome.
So touring with your friends, one thing, you know, getting along. But how about, let's say, material-wise? You know, should individual material reflect maybe group values as a whole?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, for us, we had to do, you know, we had, like, again, James Inman, who was, after we got fired, he, from the club, they asked him specifically to come back because Inman is very much like a pander monkey, or he will be. You know, he'll forego all of this brilliant material just to talk to girls that are doing bachelorette parties or whatever, and he'll change his whole act, which I guess is great, speaks to like how versatile he is, because I can't do or have any desire to do that.
Excuse me for 1 second. Is the Pander Monkeys of comedy taken yet?
No, sign up. Get those people signed.
Pander Monkeys at pandermonkeysofcomedy.org.
No, but I mean, well, this is like an issue that we had on the tour, was that he wanted to continue and work that night, that Saturday that we got fired. And we were just like, are we a fucking band, or are we in this tour together? Are we unbookables, or are you know? But we felt betrayed by him because he was going to go and work when we got let go. We were pissed off about it, and so and then we had an intervention and got him drunk and made him bail on the show. So,
You have to expand on that.
mission accomplished. What we had an intervention. We went over to his house with a bottle of gin and said, James, if you accept this gift.
Reverse intervention.
Like the show. That would be a better version of that show.
But that's what we needed.
The Pander Monkey gets a reverse intervention. It sounds like a sex move or something.
That is what happened, and then we made him quit the show and come to the shitty open mic with us. That's what we did. We conned him into it. I mean, we just fed him booze, and then he finally caved. But he was just, you know, he wanted to. Because I think that speaks to the group value thing. It's just that for us, it was just like, you can't. We got fired. You're getting fired too. We're not letting you work, and we didn't let him.
In your defense, you were called the Unbookables.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what we were saying. We're like, are we unbookable or not? We all got fired. You're getting fired. You're getting fired too.
Story.
Yeah. That's right. So yes, we made him have our values, even if he didn't want them.
I think in general, though, it seems like if you're a group of friends, you vaguely... But it's not like I wouldn't tour with someone who was like... I think if someone's funny... Like, Tom Shalhoub is a comic who's super funny, and he's, like, conservative. Like, I don't know what you mean by values. Like, neither of us are murderers. But, like, you know, we probably see things differently, but I would certainly tour with someone who had, like, a different perspective or something. But, I mean, I think the real thing is just, like, you like each other, and you either know each other or you think you will like each other.
Right. I agree with that.
Although it seems like a lot of these things are theme-based, you know. Like,
But not for, but not, I mean, vaguely for anyone here. You mean like
Right.
theme-based? Yeah, I mean, in the
Like-
world, sure.
like we all have beards. Or,
Yes, I get that you're trying to sell your beard thing.
Yeah. It's on iTunes now.
No, there's totally tons of that, but that's like, but that's a thing that people, like, you're trying to think of, like, what do we have that we can sell that people can relate to, and like, you know, there's certainly, you can go to a town and if you have, you know, a name like something like that, people may be curious. But in general, I think everyone on this panel has mostly done just things with like friends or people they like, kind of know or respect. You know, like, I mean, with Patton, like, I didn't know him well, but he liked me and I you know, really admired him, so that was great for me. Anyway.
I think I have some more examples. Would maybe be like hilarious Saints of Comedy tour : laughter that heals the soul. Or
It's a real thing.
or oh yeah,
I hate
the Obama Girls of Comedy tour.
What? You're making this up.
Check your internet. Check your internet.
Is Obama Girls the Obama Girls from that video?
No, it's Sasha and Malia. They have a comedy.
It's they're
You should see the Aerosmith of Comedy tour featuring none of the members of Aerosmith.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Because there's a thing called Obama Girl.
Oh, and also Michelle headlines. She's an Obama.
Oh no, it's comedy. They were.
Wait, I thought Obama Girl, that's like 6-7 years ago or something.
Yeah, but I think it's not those people.
No, it was strictly stand-up comedy tour of chicks that are, I'm sorry, it's
That like Obama.
ladies.
Well, good
They
showing
were
light on that one.
touring, and yeah. it
Are
was,
you aware
why
that there
don't we
was a
have the-
famous thing called Obama Girl like 6 or 7 years ago?
Yes, but this would be a different.
That's like
Right,
having-
that would be someone taking a famous thing of someone else's and doing a tour of it
Yes.
because they all liked Obama.
Oh my
and
God.
touring under the same values.
That's like a Where's the Beef of Comedy tour, and it's a bunch of young dudes that are
Okay,
being
you're real thing.
it's like just it
Right,
makes
I
no
get it.
sense. It's-
No, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying in this one example, there was a famous thing that someone did that was a famous comedy thing, and then it was sort of, you know, it sounds like a weird thing, someone else used that name. Though I understand they all had the same values, but what those values didn't seem to be minding taking the name of
How can
something
you,
else.
we all like Obama, and imagine what they talk about.
Anyway, this doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
Let's say maybe in the upsides and downsides of touring in this manner as a group, as opposed to individually. You know, for one, you might be more likely to receive the industry attention, get booked on bigger shows, and the obvious downside maybe that you're going to be earning less money, perhaps. Jack, you maybe want to start us off on you know, an industry/financial point of
Let's
view
talk
on
finance.
this one.
That's what everyone wants.
Corporate overlords.
Boom. How do you make money?
That's right.
I don't know. Oh, it's. I think. I mean, you hit on it. Is if you tour as a comedian and you can sell out a 300 capacity room, and you can fly there, you don't have equipment. I feel like you can make a lot more money, and people are paying, you know, a $25 ticket, and then there's a 2-drink minimum, and you're getting all the door. There's much more to be earned or made there than if you're like an indie rock band and have to drive around the country schlepping equipment, and there's maybe a $7 to $10. It's also a great date night. People are just going to comedy clubs to laugh, I feel, but if, you know, if you're a group of, you know, comics, you lose that sort of ability to even potentially fly to gigs and split the cash, and so there's the obvious downsides to it. But I feel like if you're a developing artist and have a group of like-minded friends that you know, and it appeals to a certain group, it's a great way to get out there and get seen, as long as you remain individual and it's organic. Because, you know, I feel like there are a lot of examples to the contrary, but I feel like really people can sniff out something that's inorganic a mile away. And if you're just trying to cash in on whatever niche you're going for, then it's just probably is going to end in disaster.
Now, Jack, can I ask you a question?
Please.
Like, as far as, you know, like the 2012, like, you can't give records away kind of mentality, and
Sure.
I can speak from both sides of it.
Yeah.
Coming from Comedy Central Records, what do you, like, where do you see that, where do you see Comedy Central Records fitting amidst this kind of like anachronism? You know, like this sort of dying.
So you have what, another year of work left?
I'm
probably?
just asking a question because I really genuinely want to know.
I have a pocket full of resumes. Anyone who's
Yes,
hiring?
Jack, are you almost out of a job?
Yes. Yes. We're still selling quite a few records, and
Hey, I mean, comedy records are a totally different beast than selling music. I know that, but I'm still just curious to know.
totally. Well, I forget the first part of your question because I feel I was most jerking.
What's your sign?
Sagittarius.
I mean,
Jupiter rising.
I mean, part of your thing is that you're part of a giant television station
Yes.
that airs hour-long commercials of people
Exactly.
doing their stand-up.
Exactly.
So I think Comedy Central Records is not only different from other net records, but it's also it's a network.
Yeah, it's totally true. And, you know, we don't do too many compilations because I feel like
No one buys them. We did one with you.
yeah, that's right. Actually, you know,
Or it still sells.
It's done quite well.
Oh,
And
really?
It's been very influential.
Yes. No, I'm super. I love doing it. I just mean like it
On
they don't
iTunes
sell
now.
a lot.
Yeah.
They don't sell a lot, but they're
Right. Yeah.
historic.
Well, because I feel, yeah, and it's a great way to document, you know, what's happening in the comedy scene. But I feel like with compilation records, the problem is it takes a little while to get into the voice and perspective of a comedian. You know, once you listen to a record for 5 or 10 minutes, then you start getting into the groove and the mindset of this comic. You just want more and more because of the cadence and the humor. But when there's a compilation on album, a lot of times, just as you're getting into the the voice and rhythm of the comic, boom, they're done. You have to get to the next one. So that's why when we do compilations, we like to do bigger chunks of the artist. I don't feel like that answers the question.
That's great.
But if they all have beards, I think that helps because all the jokes are filtered through beards.
I like what I'm hearing.
More beard-based comedy.
That's the main takeaway.
Okay. I mean, any other thoughts on finances? Christine, you make a lot of money from the unlockables.
Yeah, here's the financial things to consider is who's got a car and who's got a credit card. And sometimes you're going to trade that for talent. I'm just saying, you're going to be like, he ain't that funny, but he's hooked up. So, that's it. Yeah.
The car and credit card thing is a good advice for any beginning comedian.
Right, yeah. Well,
Drive the headliner to the gig.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have either of those two things, so I
Right.
fucking make sure my feature does.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna.
Do you find it's harder to ring with a group than alone?
No, I mean, well, it's weird. I like touring with a group is it's uncomfortable. I mean, with us, we were just arguing a lot and peeing in each other's shoes and stealing each other's drugs, and so I mean,
And then there were bad times.
Well, also in terms of finance, I would say that like a lot of times, like virtually all the tours that I did would have like a huge regional element where like you'd go to the West Coast and you'd drive from whatever Portland or Washington to LA, stopping along the way doing shows. So I think you take into account some of the things. It would be foolish to fly around the country unless you were playing like to 3,000 people. But you can totally make it very manageable. I mean, some of the early tours I would do, we would get one hotel room, and we would it was like me, Dimitri, Leo, and then a band, and we would all stay in one room, and it was super fun. And we had 2 beds and a lot of cots and whatever. But I think you make it work.
Do you prefer touring with friends or alone or what?
Yeah, I like it much more. Like I think the stories where like comics are like, and then I flew to a sad place and everything was terrible and I was all alone. I'm like, that sounds horrible. So I'd rather tour with friends.
It makes the stories better, that's for sure.
So, yeah.
It does make it more fun.
You can be like, remember that time we stole the flag from the hotel and
Mm-hmm.
giant anyway.
You were witnesses.
Yeah.
I get naked a lot. It's kind of my thing.
And there's witnesses.
No, that's really
How about maybe decision-making process in a group? Does it sort of fall to a natural leader? Is it maybe something you have to vote
Regardless
on?
of the tour, it's always Dane Cook who decides.
So yeah, that one has a little bit of an asterisk to it.
I think decision making is usually the person that says cunt the most. It's just the person that like screams
My mom always
loudest.
says.
Yeah, or
My mom.
or like in our tour, it was there would be a lot of fighting and the boys would go crazy and whatever, and then sometimes I'd just make a decision. I would just be like, okay, you guys are all crazy, and because I didn't make a lot of decisions or participate in a lot of their shenanigans, that they would seem to, or I'm a woman, and they would just seem to like back down and respect me, or let me boss them around, which is nice. So it varies, I guess, but usually it's just the bitchiest one, I find, that makes the decisions. Here.
Oh, I don't think we ever had any problem with the decision making. Everything was paid for, and every place was filled by this one guy, and the shows were packed, and we didn't have much to say about the font or anything like that, but you kind of sucked it up, and.
But is there maybe also an advantage to that because you don't have to worry about anything?
Oh yeah, it's perfect for my personality. I don't want any trouble.
I want to tour with you.
Yeah, I'm non-confrontational.
Fantastic.
Just the
Gary, get
benefits
the
of
car.
everything being taken care of and playing to 10,000 people again.
What's the downside on that?
Well, I will say this downside. You can't work out new bits in front of 10,000 people.
Right.
It's humiliating. I tried initially, and then I just turned inward, and sometimes I'd run something by Bobby and say, yeah, try that out. That was as far as I got. I would never actually try it out, but when I got back, I mean, then you get back and you're playing in front of maybe 60 people who are all there to see you, and it feels a lot better.
Yeah.
It really does. If you're, I mean, maybe it's a problem with me that I don't like to be a satellite, but maybe it's human nature. Yeah.
Gene, any
What?
thoughts or no?
I have lots of thoughts, but is there a question? I, mean,
I
agree that Gary doesn't like being a satellite, and I think that's totally reasonable.
Maybe a decision-making process, or
Oh, well, I mean,
who's responsible for what?
You know, with comedians of comedy, it was, you know, it was basically, you know, Patton, probably, and Henry. I mean, and also everything was like, this is what we're doing, these are the places we're going. It's not like we have a show and I feel like, I don't want to go there. Like, you have it all figured out. And same, like, I'm about to go tour with Andrew Bird, and like, they have a whole thing, and like, they drive, you know, you drive at night, go to the next city, and like, everything's been arranged by a, you know, bigger thing. In terms of like, when I did tours with like, you know, when it was me, Mark, and Andy, or me and Dimitri Leo, or Showalter, all that stuff, we just kind of, everybody was vaguely equal. And you'd have like, you know, somebody like maybe my agent would book the tour, and then like, we'd all figure stuff out, and, you know, either have somebody help out or book the rooms. It was all very, just like people agreeing. But it was also like you're playing to 400 or 500 people, or whatever it is, or 200, you know, maybe 800, you know, in some of those. But mostly it was like very manageable, playing places like Emo's or something, which is now closed, so never mind.
How about maybe a longevity factor? How do you know when it's time to disband or maybe get rid of members?
When you're peeing in each other's shoes and stealing each other's drugs. That's when it's time to go.
Darn. Well, I would say when someone gets the job of being Ratatouille.
Oh, that old problem.
And now
I found when one of the Jews would get particularly whiny, they would drop him.
Or they're more calm then, when they're not raging anymore.
Yeah.
Time to get rid of that Jew.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was a matter of like when, you know, we're just stealing each other's Xanax, we have to go. It's just crazy. Like, and we wouldn't, you know, we just had to take the pills to not argue. And then that was when, you know, and then the van breaks down and all hell breaks. Oh, God. I'm telling you, it's fucking awful.
I mean,
we ran out of booze. Ah!
Terrible.
I think also a lot of this is, you know, everybody has their own thing. So like, you know, I mean, often it would be like, I have to do a TV show now, you know, or whatever, and so then you wouldn't work, right, Henry?
No, totally, yeah.
Good.
Happened all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you guys were more, kind of timing based. Let's do it now, and then come back and talk about it again in a couple months. But then at some point, you know, comedians of comedy are done now. What was that?
Well, I mean, done like it'll never happen again.
That's kind of how I was led to believe. Yeah. I mean,
The Eagles said that too.
Yeah, Van Halen just got back together.
Yes, sure.
look, without Michael Anthony.
Most of the tours I've done, nobody's ever been like, well, goodbye, good luck with everything. I'll see you.
It's such, that's so, it's so fabricated. It's like, like you're never going to, perform with this person again.
So me, Peter Buck, and Michael Stipe have started a band.
When is Bob's Burgers coming back?
This last Sunday. It came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's back.
Very fun.
Sorry to say it like that.
What's Bob's Burgers?
Bob's Burgers. It's a cartoon on
It's part of Animation Domination.
It's a restaurant I opened this 2 weeks ago.
Look, things change in Austin so goddamn quickly. I was like, oh, did I miss
Yeah, oh, I bought downtown after a killer set last year. I won the film award.
How about maybe, where do we think this trend is heading? You know, as things become a little more DIY, individual fans are finding comics to follow more than, you know, comedy in general. Yeah, where's this going, or is it just, in fact, a trend?
I have some thoughts on this. I like from the Unbookables, we do not tour together. That's never going to happen again. But we do split off on little, you know, two-person type tours. You know, we'll reconnect, and I think that actually works better where we'll like co-headline, and then so I think the perfect situation is you just have like one other person. You split the money down the middle. There's no fighting. There's no arguing about what you're going to do. You're splitting the time the same. You're splitting the gas the same. You know, or who's got the credit card, whatever. But you know, so I see this as something that's dying out. I mean, it's unproductive for comedians, I think, to be in such large groups because, or at least it was for us. So we don't do that anymore. We're just now splitting off in pairs.
I think also a lot of the things you've listed are groups that are, you know, like, I think that it's people who are figuring out, like, hey, how can I, like people don't necessarily know me, or like I've been on, you know, like Code or whatever, I've done a little stuff but not enough, and they're trying to like figure out maybe how to band together to be like a bigger draw. So I don't know that anyone will ever stop doing that. Like it would be, like in 10 years, there'll be a thing like that. I mean, they probably won't be called Of Comedy because
But that's what I was going to say. Like, are they going to stop doing the Of Comedy thing sometime?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Well, and as long as there's an underserved niche, I feel like people are going to...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think after Comedians of Comedy, it became unnecessary to make it Of Comedy, but I'm not going to stop it.
Yeah, wasn't comedians of comedy making fun of the expression of comedy?
Yeah.
I'm going to say
And that
yes.
should have been the end of it. Yeah.
That
Then
should
it
have
kept
been
going.
it. Instead, it inspired people to be like, where are the hats of comedy? Everyone's in a fedora. It's not about it.
Everyone's
Let's just spend the rest of the time making fun of the other names.
Panel
of
is
the
comedy.
tours. You read the tour names, and we'll improv.
Especially if there's ones that are like the holy saints of...
Yeah. That's a layup. That's a basketball term.
The outlaws with the Z of comedy. That's Cat Williams.
Shut up.
What was Cat Williams of?
Outlaws.
Outlaws Z of comedy.
Oh, there's a Z. Okay.
Z.
So that doesn't infringe on the Sam Kinison, Carl LeBove Outlaws
Yeah.
tour.
So-
Thank God.
It's
Yes.
extra badass. It's got a Z.
You got the my personal favorite of mine. I think the nobodies of comedy. That draws them. I'm sure.
Do you think this will lead to other panels for me? I think I'm a, you know, what do you call it when you're complimentary to the other panel members? Yeah. So I feel like this could be a start. I mean, my podcast career is already.
I mean, I think the nobodies of comedy speaks to, like, it's clearly people with probably not a lot of credits. We're like, what makes us relevant?
Precisely.
The above average panelists of comedy.
Yes.
So early.
We should tour.
At the end, we do 45 minutes of group advice.
I've got a rental van.
Who's got credit card? Jack's credit card.
I know, Jack's got it.
Yeah, I know.
Making money.
Yeah, we can travel in the Comedy Central copter.
Hills, are you still booking panels at the, are there any panels you can book at the?
You're going to headline.
It's good to know that how good this panel
I'm not ready.
has got out, and now it's kind of doubled since the beginning.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, I've been
More
tweeting
things.
about this panel since it started, and that's what led to the doubling of the audience.
So, credit card, driver's license. Julie, what you got? Wine. She's got a flask of wine. I think we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the corporate
What time is
sponsorship.
it? Should we?
Yeah, do we have to
do
open
you guys want to ask
questions at
questions?
some
What is this?
point here?
Should we ask a question?
Oh, the gentleman that we're doing this for.
Yeah.
Is it, I
maybe it goes without saying, but you definitely make more money touring in a group than you do touring solo?
Wait, say that the other way?
Do you make more money touring as a group or touring solo?
Well, it depends. If you're not, if no one knows who you are as a group, if people do know who you are solo. Like if the question is, like, though it's sort of negligible, but yeah, no, I mean, Patton would make more touring alone than he would as a group, but someone
he really didn't care.
But yeah, but like a lot of but someone who was not well known would do much better. Jay was that like he would do much better touring with Dane Cook than he would on his own. I imagine.
It's a lot more fun, and you go less crazy touring with a group of people. I think.
Yeah.
The loneliness is.
But,
so,
but the money.
So there's a value. There's a value, not a monetary value, to traveling with the other guys. But again, the Dane Cook draw.
Yeah, you generally make more touring alone, unless maybe there's 10,000 people. Yeah. Hello, are you attacking us slowly?
Slowly. He's armed to the gills.
Not attacking well.
What about I remember, didn't you guys tour without Dane?
Yes.
At what point, how did that go?
Yeah, how did I'm curious. Is that
How did that
a
go?
real thing?
How did that
Well,
go?
did that happen?
Did we sell out 3
How
shows
many refunds did
and
you
get
have to
canceled on 28 shows?
No, we did good at the end.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
It was a slow build.
yeah, it was like Rochester.
But I'll tell you, we did, to answer your question, we cashed in.
It was
On
the
that
cash grab
portion.
tour.
Yeah.
The cash grab of comedy.
Yeah.
And how big were those
We
venues?
went around collecting checks.
Wait, how big were those venues?
2,000.
Small theaters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't get any help.
Oh.
I think we got one easy.
Like, from Dane, meaning,
Well, yeah, it was us. It was a little theater. We didn't get any.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
hey, go see my friends.
They're just throwing it out there.
He didn't even. What? Hold on. He didn't even help.
We wanted to do
I'm sorry. No, I meant it. Like he didn't even like help you guys. Like you guys were going to. Oh, right.
It did make a duty in a trash barrel.
But he didn't like make
Can
a
you say
phone call
duty?
for you guys or like help. You know.
Oh no.
He put Macy's gift cards on people's walls on MySpace, but it didn't help.
Yeah, sure.
We didn't have the whole thing cooked.
We did have the name Tourgasm.
We didn't have anything behind it.
Yeah, sure.
We did good at the end of it. We actually started doing.
Yeah.
Okay, we had a lot of. We did the egg and all these. We wanted to quit the business. Like, you know, my uncle was there.
But we had a lot of laughs. We had a lot of fun. We ate well. We stayed at nice hotels. I mean, it sounds like the Unbookables was a nightmare. So it was better than the Unbookables.
It was awful.
Yeah. But we probably sold the same amount of tickets as the Unbookables, but there was less pissing and as far as Xanax theft, negligible.
Really?
Negligible. I think I broke in half a Klonopin and shared it with one Klonopin, I'm sleeping 18 hours, but half a Klonopin is right up my alley. I should get off now. I'm not getting any funnier than that Klonopin joke. My Klonopin.
Do you have 6 questions? Or do we have 6 minutes?
Don't people usually wait till it gets down to 5 minutes before they give the signal? Who gives us 6? That guy's in the Hawaiian Shirts of Comedy tour. You guys remember the Hawaiian Shirts of Comedy?
Any more questions?
Question? Yes.
You guys talked about the future of where comedy is going in terms of these groups touring in. You know, one area you can see and say there's definitely growth in is podcasts. You guys are all involved in podcasts in one way or another. How do you feel about that hitting the road as opposed to traditional stand-up comedy?
How do you feel about having such a shitty seat in a place where you could have sat on the panel? What kind of self-esteem do you have? Where you're like, I don't want to get I don't want to be picked on. Jesus. Didn't hear a word he said, by the way.
He asked about podcasts going on tour. I would say actually that when I was in Seattle and did Scott Aukerman's podcast, when I've done stuff like that, it's been really fun. So I don't know, I enjoy it, and if there's people who like it and go see it, it sounds fine, personally, but I don't know.
Yeah, everybody's got a podcast now. It's hard to even pick one to listen to, so I don't listen to any of them.
Really?
I can't deal with it.
I like, You Know What, Dude, with Robert Kelly. We're going to be shooting one, listening to one, playing one. What do you call it? Recording one? I should have gotten off on the Klonopin
You
bit.
guys got another episode?
All of the Hawaiian shirt follow-up, followed by me roasting that kid.
Yeah, let's just open it up to promotion. We got Roberts, Dan Schlissel tomorrow, 3 to 4. Any other promotion we'd like to? Matt?
Yes?
He's just saying hi.
You know that dude.
Hey.
Morning,
Okay.
Matt. Any other questions? Robert Kelly, Robbie Kelly.
Yeah, what's up? You guys like to play, you guys didn't do comedy clubs, like the improv
Right.
and the funny ones. You did alternative rooms as like rock and roll clubs or
Yeah.
All rock.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
rock clubs. Now, do you see that, I mean, do you see where that comedy's going kind of in that direction now?
I think so, but I also have to say that I think that that's, I mean, even before Comedians of Comedy, like I have a music booking agent, so that's sort of where I always did stuff, kind of. In general, I think comedy clubs are a thing of like, I don't know, 75-ish to like 90-something. Yeah, like, or whatever, like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, the huge amount of comedy clubs were like the 80s, and before that, like, I don't know, where like Lenny Bruce and Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby, all those people, they used to perform at like cabaret-ish, like Woody Allen, like they used to perform at what now is sort of thought of as music clubs. So in general, like the things that, like I'll do shows at a place that's just a rock club, but it'll be seats and stuff. Like it's just not a comedy club, and then the other advantage is you don't do 5 shows. You're not there like Thursday or whatever. You do
It's
one
not a
show,
sweatshop.
you make 2/3 of the money you would over 5 nights, and then you leave. You know, so that's the reasoning
future.
for it.
That's
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's just
That's
much
the most
better
helpful
than
thing
a
I've heard all day.
Comedy club, like it's, you know, where you're like.
And speaking as somebody who's not a comedian, but I've been to comedy clubs and the Comedians of Comedy spoiled me because once I started going back to comedy clubs after going on those tours, I was like, this is bullshit. You know, it's like they're herding you in and out, like you have to have a 2-drink minimum, and there's just something.
But at least you get to have food that's like openers and it's onion rings, so that's good.
Yeah, you get to have potato skins. So I mean, truly, it was liberating. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think I work clubs at all, really. It's always, and in fact, in Portland, where I'm from, we're doing, all comedians just do their own shows now. We've given up on the Harveys and the Helium. Most of us, we just don't even care. We're like, we'll just book our own shows and promote ourselves, and we're learning a lot. We've learned that we don't need bookers. Like, they're the dummies of the, no offense, I don't know who's, sorry.
I'm a booker!
No, I mean, okay, I'm sorry. I mean, like, you know, I'm talking about like David Tribble. Like, he thinks he knows comedy and he's hot shit. Well, he's not. He's not smarter than me, and I have 2 great ears.
Did he attack your ears?
He's got a fucked up ear. It's
You attacked his ears. Let's see what's going on.
Let's open it up to insulting the comedy industry now.
I don't need to work for him. I don't give a fuck.
Well, Julie, you have an entire page. I'm gonna guess that's like times 10 point.
It was 9.
No.
9
But what I'm going to say is maybe, like, because it seems like our time is done. Maybe if you start reading that off, kind of like the, like the soldiers who have died in.
Oh, yeah. We're the people we lost at the Oscars.
And we can leave.
Yeah, no more.
And curtain.
The Whitney Houstons of comedy. They're actually very good.
Too soon.
It would have been the Unbookables. We were wondering
As
who
we
was
sit
going to die.
in the night. Would you like me to?
Well,
Or we
I
could
think it would
name
be
some
great
more
if-
and we could make.
Or let's just
pithy
read foreign
comments.
names and laugh at those.
Did we get to the Nigerian kings of comedy?
Oh, shut up.
That's real.
I once saw a Nigerian comic in Dublin do word for word Dave Chappelle's act. It was very interesting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and like nobody there knew, and I was like, wait, that guy, he's doing Dave Chappelle's act, but with a really thick accent.
How did it go over?
It was really amazing.
Did the audience like it?
Yeah, he had both the endearingness of being foreign and very good material he stole from an American comic.
The hacks
So he
of
did
comedy.
great.
That is so cool. Hacks of comedy.
Niggas, what is this? What is it?
I love it.
Trick whitey man.
Are we canceled now? Are we done? We're done? And scene.
All right, let's go to the theater for it.